Welcome everyone to another Valorant study session. This time we're going to be looking at the DRX versus Talon match on Icebox. The reason why I wanted to watch this one is because the Harbor v Harbor matchup traditionally on Icebox on the attacking side, especially on the B site, it's the Sage wall that's like the main win condition there of getting that bomb plant down, and then even on the defense using that Sage wall to then block off yellow, etc., to then get the defuse. But DRX actually in their previous match against Cloud9 introduced using Harbor as a substitution for the Sage wall. Did very good. I believe they went 10-2 on their attacking side. They got the bomb plant down every single round, and the only rounds that it wasn't the Harbor planting were the rounds that Harbor died before the bomb plant could go in. So essentially a 1-for-1 exchange of that Sage for what you usually see on the B side. I don't actually know how many of those plants were on the B side, but as we know, the Sage wall is still a very useful tool for A as well. It's just like more iconic on the B site. So I don't know if Talon had this Harbor strategy prepped beforehand, before they saw that match. Icebox was in a rotation on I believe two of Talon's previous series in Sao Paulo, but they never actually hit the third map, which was where Icebox was. So we don't actually have any evidence if they knew or not, but either way, whether they had it prepped beforehand, whether they got inspired by seeing how strong DRX were against Cloud9, they brought it in themselves, and so we actually had a Harbor v Harbor matchup, and this is going to give us a really good opportunity to watch the series again and really examine what this does, what the Harbor does compared to the Sage, or just in general what tools and how that agent is effective on both attack and defense. So let's go into round number one. Talon start on the defense, DRX start on the attack. And it is going to be a mirror comp across the board, not even just the Harbor, but it's going to be everything Crews here, facing off essentially against all five attacking members of DRX. He looked up for a brief moment, whether for the jet dash or the drone, but he's going to drop his own molly and back away and basically give this entire positioning up. Not a lot of context being hit, either at mid with the turret or at A, and so you see a big fast rotation, and it's going to be, again, the Viper wall comes up, it's going to be a Harbor wall as well, and the Cove does get planted with the spike plant beneath it, and already off the bat you can see the spike being planted further away from the wall. The Sage wall plant forces you right against that wall, which is a very limited angle, and it means that there's a little bit of more cover for the retake to use when they come back into this. We also saw for a brief moment exactly what I was talking about earlier, with the Cove goes up. And I mean, DRX invented this strategy, so they definitely knew what was happening, right? Already the spray is coming through, dealing damage, and then immediately stacks, no vision, just taking out because of the spray bowl. It's worth the spike plant for sure in this situation. But Talon have a really solid retake. Buzz can only get one before yellow essentially gets taken over, and Zets with that kill there does delay it for a brief moment. But being surrounded by a push from one side and a shock dart from the other means that yellow has now been taken by the defenders, which means that Zest could essentially just Fox can commit onto the spike defuse, because the rest of his teammates were keeping the attackers hugged in long B. No real way for them to safely swing out. So it was a nice spike plant, but a retake by Talon.
I think they've matched the amount of rounds that Cloud9 managed versus this attack. Yeah, you know, it's a
little bit of a light buy for DRX. They do get the plant, and I mean, you definitely see this in American teams of getting the plant and really forcing up. Americans love to force. We love our big guns, or as big as we can afford. But it's very light of a buy here for DRX. They want to have as much resources going into Talon's bonus round as possible, and they're going to be taking this fight here around A. So a lot better angles for them to push with these pistols. Not going to be nearly as much of a ranged advantage compared to places like Long B, especially. Granted, still an advantage, and you can see Talon cleaning up with it, but they do lose two, and it's going to be a third armor buy for Garnet. So really good second round for DRX in terms of the economic damage, even though they didn't get a spike plant. But already it's a really good performance by Garnet and Sushi Boys. Garnet especially, if he's popping off, he's going to be giving you huge numbers.
It's only the 7th decider map that Talon Garnets has faced in his career. In fairness, like you said, Tom, this is a young guy.
And now you can see DRX, 5 rifles across the board. There is one half armor, but compared to 2 Bulldogs and a Frenzy on the side of Talon, definitely worth. Okay, so one was spotted. Unsure if Garnet was, but that spray through the wall makes me think that Garnet was, his location was figured out as well. Cruz here, Ego holding an angle with very little cover. Does get one information, is expecting to swing from a second. So that's a lot of pieces of information for the 2 individual sides. That's why you see neither default has really pulled the trigger one way or the other just yet. DRX moving the spike over towards A. Fox is rotating away, just nervous about a push through mid, but doesn't spot anyone there. And with the time right now, any little piece of information is going to likely give something away. Shots do come out, and so already you can see Sushi Boys rotating. Ready for an A take. Cruz took a little longer just because, again, there was no real actual contact made just yet. It could have just been a fake. You want to wait for the last second. A lot of utility comes up from both teams, both sides. Gordon's holding a very strong angle here. He does get mollied out, so he's going to have to fall away. With very low HP across the board, but a little bit of staggered push through the wall. Talon are able to take those fights. It's all into Zest right now. Gets the kill right before the Harbor comes up. And now it's down to a 1 versus 1. Plant is gonna come through. Zest has to force it. He's in the cover of the Harbor, which is gonna give him a brief moment of safety, but Jit Boy swinging out to the side is gonna be able to take him out. Jit was down to, like, what is that, 4 HP, but because he was holding such a far wide angle, it's the equivalent of doing like a wide swing, where Zest was trying to swing out and hold the angle that right against the wall.
But then also just the fact that
Just really good play, really down to the wire though, even with the bonus round. But look at Jit. I mean, yo, he also had a Frenzy doing all this action with pushing into the back of the site, or rather holding the back of the site while the attackers pushed in. 3-0. And DRX, they are going to be forcing a little bit into this. They have enough money in their left in their pockets, and whoa, Cruz with a nice shot to shut that down before anything crazy came of it. Harbor Wall is going to allow them access further into Long B, but it's a bit of a default setup, and Stacks does drop Cruz. That's going to be huge. That means that they could get a free spike plant on B, especially with all this action happening around A. DRX know that it's going to be a light rotation within this time frame. RB is isolated and taken out. And even with the spike plant, Talon have such a huge advantage here in terms of weaponry. They can't waste too much time. And they don't actually have a cove. Talon, yeah, they still have their own cove to work with. So they could just drop that onto the spike, but they got to go now. Zest here on a sick angle, but oh, he gets 1. If you got 2, that would have been huge. But yeah, the cove does come up. Mako pushes through, stops the spike defuse from happening, and I don't think there's any time here, even if, yeah, Fox wins this fight, but there's no time, has to back away.
Foxy can't even step out of the radius.
So that's the one downside to that cove compared to the wall orb from Sage, is that you can't, like, they both block bullets, but only one of them blocks physical bodies.
Very, very strong comeback, and the fact that you had a late flank coming in from the Sova, the whip up close as well. It should never have worked, but Mako just carved himself a little bit of space.
Man, the amount of 2Ks that Mako gets here, and just in general, I don't mean here in this series, but as a player, as an individual, he's such a strong foundational rock. He doesn't usually pop off in like big giant ace rounds, but if he's on your team, that already, there's like a solid floor to play around with. Sushi Boys here, the very forward angle. Talon are on, and heavy pistol buy. But again, they're also preparing to buy up tomorrow. Going for aggressive plays, which is what you usually do on the defense. If you're on a save round like this. Trying to take some gambles, see if you can't catch people off guard, grab a rifle. And, you know, maybe use that rifle to retake or even delay and deal more damage, or even just save it. And Stacks got lucky with that one. Oh, that was unintended. Fox can't land a shot either. All in a Jit, boys. See how much economic damage you can do with this Sheriff. That's one. One rebuy. Can't quite get the second, though. So a really nice anti-eco coming out from DRX to get the spike plant as well as those kills. One armor rebuy as well as one full kit rebuy with the kill that Jit Boys got there at the very end. But still an advantage for Talon, 3-2. Full rifles across the board. Ult advantage for DRX, with Garnet using their own ult previously. But you know, that Jet ult doesn't really count as an ult advantage. Kind of. It's not the same thing as a Viper or a Sova or a Killjoy ultimate for sure. Another B take comes in. Cruz is playing a little closer than usual. Oh, that molly doesn't actually spread to Buzz. That could give Cruz a little bit of a false sense of security, but he's going to be backing away. But while that happens, the rest of Talon have been pushing down mid with Killjoy with a full setup on A. So if Cruz stays alive here, almost got sprayed through the wall once again and actually does get taken out by a molly. So Cruz is down. Another 5 versus 4 advantage here for DRX. Spike plant comes on in, but it's going to be stopped by the Sova ultimate. Absolutely huge tag with the follow-up. Can't quite get a second tag there for the damage, but RB is going to continue on with the plant. And this is the more traditional plant that you see with the Sage Wall. With the plant, however, Sushi has activated the ultimate. We'll see if the ultimate does come into play. It is going to be a Viper ultimate from the attacking side. Not Sushi. I keep mixing these guys up. RB has the ultimate. We'll see if the ultimate comes into play. Sushi, though, does get a headshot onto Buzz. This is a huge Viper pit to try and push on through, and Mako on the high ground. LED lights shining on the enemies inside of that pit. Yeah, there it is. RB swings out, gives that final kill onto Fox. 3 alive, 3 versus 3. DRX coming back into this.
Fantastic decision. 3 ults online coming into this round, and they're only up against pistols. You know, for them, as I said, they ended up at 3-2 somehow.
Oh man, that spray.
On the scoreboard, they were able to bounce right back, gain full economic control, and now push Talon to an eco. They've got
What's the economy looking like?
Having already invested quite a few over on their side.
Okay, this is the time I'm going to speed through it. Okay, looks like Talon, they still want to contest this with a little bit of a light buy, buying some light armor and some sheriffs across the board. Cruz is 1 away from his ultimate. That could, I mean, that could be useful even on a light, not really on a light buy like this, to be honest. Because we're, okay, Garnet pushing forward. RB's going to take him out. Yeah, DRX have been very, very good in these anti-ecos. They're really not allowing Talon to catch them off guard in the slightest. In fact, Zest even tags 1, but knows there's still the Sova on the site and is waiting for the aggressive push. The idea would be if Fox tried to take advantage of Zest's attention being drawn to Jit Boys, he was going to push forward. But in any case, DRX are now pushing once again onto B. Utility from both sides. Harbor Wall pushes on in, as well as the Viper Wall. Sushi Boys is ready. Molotov of their own, just waiting for the sound cue, waiting to pull the trigger. Spike has yet to go onto the site to be planted. The rotation was here very, very fast. Looks like DRX are just waiting for Talon to try and waste some utility, but the Harbor, well, it does come on in. Piece of Killjoy utility comes in as well. Wasn't exactly spotted where it landed. They tried to spray, weren't able to find it. But the spike does go down before too much of a punish comes on in. Now 5 versus 3 should be an easy hold. A couple of low health players. Buzz got tagged. I believe that was a shock dart. And yeah, the Harbor from the defensive side does get broken almost immediately. Buzz really wanted to push through that. Oh, misses the flick. Knows that someone's going to be peeking from that high angle, but they're going to double peek in tandem. And DRX once again, anti-eco, all 5 alive. So their economy is looking really, really good right now. Look at that. What is that? Mako on over 8K. A good spray into that small little pocket. That's the thing. You think the vision wall comes up and you think you're safe. But you got to know your terrain. You got to know the map and like sort of the obvious places that people backpedal into. Jip Boys throws up a wall of their own to trying to lay a push onto A. Oh boy. Killjoy ultimate comes out from RB, finally used after a few rounds. I don't think there's really a pocket, but Garnet's trying to hold on to the angle. Does get captured by the Killjoy, but still with that pick onto Buzz. Very well played and well worth it, with the rest of the team being able to follow up, and the spike plant does go down, but the spray through that wall does mean that Stacks can't defend it anymore. 5 versus 3 retake. Drone comes through. Oh, and RB is found out right before the wall comes up. Sushi Boy is going to take that head. Really good shots coming out from Talon. So it's definitely a good take. And oh, Jip Boys actually gets taken out by the shock dart. And now Zest is able to follow up all the utility of where they know the spike is being planted. Fox trying to defuse, is getting really close. It was already at half. I think I just did exactly. What? Wait a second, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. Okay. That's why. Okay. Seeing the Viper run up like that, not what I would have expected. So it happens to everyone. Me and Mitch both. Confusing Mako for Cruz. This is the problem with mirror comps, everyone. Anyway, moving on. 4 versus 4. Actually, both Harbor ults are up. We have to see any of those activated yet this time around.
Yeah, they ran up. That was the thing. They were so aggressive in their sprint forward to kill things off, and because they did so well of sort of deleting some of the.
But that's the. So the other thing to note about this cove that we actually saw identified here is that with the Sage plant, you really only get one position that you can plant that in. However, the Harbor Cove allows you to plant in the traditional classic spot that you plant on A, but also plant upper, and that can give you a lot of better angles to hold from further back down south side of A main. Whereas if you plant on the basic spot, where that cove is currently being placed, if you plant in that basic spot, then you really have to play up close and personal to try and defend it because of the angles. But Talon here, another anti-eco. Fox, sorry, not anti-eco, a little bit of a force buy of their own, a couple of Spectres in play. But that was a very good pick onto Mako there. Harbor comes out. Buzz with the double spray down, absolutely huge coming up for DRX. Actually catches Garden in the air as well with the headshot. Spots the Sova. And with Cruz also taken out just moments prior, DRX survive with 3. And now Talon, now they're going to have to save. Now they're going to have to play onto an eco. They got a couple of ultimates. But they need to have a few things go their way before they can use that to either of those to win rounds. Sick hold there. Bit of a aggressive dash up to the side. Not a lot of cover there. But reconnects onto the head anyway. Round 10, especially with this eco, DRX have a good opportunity to have a solid advantage going into the second half if they can win these next few rounds. I mean, it's a Spectre buy on Cruz, for Pete's sake. I think that is just because they do have the ultimate to use if things get activated. But DRX are playing this slow once again. They are waiting for Talon to push up onto any of these angles. But Talon, they've learned their lesson from previous eco rounds. They're going to wait for DRX to push into them. and hold these close angles that you can see with Garnet. That classic right click, I mean, it's going to do some work.
Ready to try and deny the plant. I'll be honest, I don't think they're going to be alive to even be able
With zero contact on long B, they already had 4 players stacked here. You're going to see Cruz rotating over, but it's going to be a back away. A little bit too dangerous for DRX to push on in, and so they're going to get ahead of the re-rotation, and they have an opportunity here to get a plant onto B before too many members of Talon are back onto the site. In fact, if any at all. So we're going to pop a cove just in case. This is all being done by seeing virtually nobody. Ooh, RB. Spot Sushi Boys. Waiting to see if anyone's going to follow up before pulling the trigger. Yeah, but then going to tap that head real easy like. Now they know that no one's really going to be coming in from mid. Everyone's going to be coming in from the main entryway. Spraying through, finding random angles. Buzz gets another one. Takes Garnet down to half HP. Okay. Buzz just knows where everyone is holding. Oh my god, brings the shorty out as well. Really wants these final kills. You already had the ultimate. Let someone else get that orb. But 6-4 right now. Good lead for DRX. Talon can buy out. They can even get an op onto Garnet. Yeah, they can even get an op onto Garnet with the light armor. We've seen a few good plays with that operator, but hasn't been completely game-breaking yet. But we'll see what happens in these next 2 rounds.
Look, Talon have done well to secure 4. The problem is, this is, in my opinion, their better half. The attack side, I expect to struggle. They're attacking with a comp that DRX are intimately familiar with, that they're pioneering. And
spotted enough.
if they manage to make it up to 6,
They're going to back away. Cruz is actually holding onto A. I think with that ultimate, Cruz is going to go immediately hold down A. They've had a really hard time, Talon, trying to retake B if the plant does go down. So with the ultimate in play, with this possibility from Cruz, they're going to stack a lot of people mid and a lot of people B to get ahead of that possibility to get at least a 5th round here. Seems to be the game plan, at least. Push comes in. Counter wall comes out. Buzz is going to push through anyway. And now the cove comes down. This is going to be the traditional spot and a really good shot on the molly. Having a teammate watching your back. Stack's going to be very thankful for that one. And once again, well, actually, no, RB not checking the higher angle. He's going to be taken out this time. This is it looked like it could have been a really good angle for that ultimate coming out of Fox, but didn't seem to know exactly where he... Either way, 2 versus 3. Garnet going to be smoke onto the spike to try and put some pressure, but that one doesn't buck bullets. Takes some damage pushing through, and, well, just holding down from deep yellow. It's going to be another round for DRX, 7-4. If they can win this 8th round, it's going to be really, really strong going into the second half. And again, they've had a spike plant a lot of these rounds. Not quite as much against Cloud9. Cloud9 was very much the first victims to this new strategy. But as is the case for a lot of ability-based games, once you use a strategy once, it's not the hardest thing for people to counter-strat you with it. But either way, it's still very effective for DRX for sure. Jet smoke getting on top of yellow. Cruz is here with the judge. This could be huge, but immediately taken out, not allowing the judge to come to play at all. Buzz goes very aggressive. Actually gets taken out with the back of sight. Almost got a couple of kills there, but it is going to be going the way of Talon. And now all of a sudden it's down to RB. Picks the spike up, but swung out by a couple of different angles and does get taken out. Very low on HP. Garnet had 1, Sushi with 24. That could have easily been 8-4 round scoreline for DRX from this first half, but Talon are able to get one going the way just barely. But I was going to the second half. Let's see what Talon can do, see if they can't replicate this. Let's look at this for real sec. Yeah, man. Cruz has just been struggling, trying to find a lot of effectiveness here. Well, Mako on the other side, 290 ACS, 11 kills, looking really, really good. I'm not saying that Cruz is playing bad necessarily, but DRX had a lot of tools to push him back and just play off of each other very, very well to not give him any opportunities to try and defend that B bomb site. So it's not that he's dropping the ball, but he's just being shut down very effectively by DRX. Where are we?
As you're seeing there, no stranger
To beat the very best. They took down El Diablo
Now Mako, he's the lone Viper hold on B.
within their own league.
One-way smoke does come up.
To try and close this out and head their way into the semifinals.
Talon stacked up here, but for a brief moment worried about being flanked.
double they do. Talon with 5 rounds on the board. Now
So you can see Cruz just watching behind them, waiting for the smoke to fade.
so far, they're starting this one with a depth.
And they have their own Viper wall they can activate if they want to push onto this site.
Wall in play, already set on the floor. DRX are very much
And they've cut noise effectively enough that DRX have backed away a little bit. You could even see the Harbor at mid leaning towards A for a brief moment, but the wall does come up. And now, yeah, with that dart coming in, seen from the angle that it was dropped in, it's almost 100% going to be a push on B. They're not rotating just yet. They want to be 100% sure. In fact, they're even backing away, and they are more than comfortable playing this as a retake. Ooh, RB spots one, but it's still no damage yet played for either side. And Jitboy's going to plant with no cove.
as well. It's all this space taking, kind of just leaves
Bus
Sushi Boys isolated.
gets the drop on Sushi Boys to try to swing around from the side. That's going to give DRX an advantage here on the retake. Cove also does come out to block the vision of the upper side, make it a little bit of a one-way as well. But Cruz and Jip Boys, they had a couple of kills, but RB and Mako are trying to take it in return, and now the Cove comes out for the defuse, and Mako is just holding forward, holding aggressively, being the front linesman there.
Already done.
Doesn't even need to stay alive. He just needs to make sure they can't swing out and take out that Cove and take out the spike diffuser before the defuse comes on in.
With that high tide, even saved
Using your own life as a resource.
awkward spot for the players to try and push back into, but I just don't even think they heard the defuse. I think it started coming through with no one even realizing, and because of that, so late on the swing, players just guarding. that
Good
spot.
shots. That classic is really hard to hit heads with.
Again for RB. He's been having a
Maybe that's just me, but that's just when I play.
about this man in the past of like, is he the person to go to allow space for Buzz to be more of that duelist? Well, he just needed some time, it seems. Adapted his own game, and now
But the Viper wall comes out.
part of DRX.
Very, very light buy coming out from Talon. Again, despite getting the bomb plant down, they're going to be sticking on classics. But they're on to the site. DRX, again, their discipline against ecos is really, really good. Stax is having a nice little flick onto Fox. Resetting his position to not get taken out through the wall, and that's actually going to be a blind spray to stop the spike plant. Garnet also gets taken out while trying to push through. Cruz finds one, gets a nice tag, but does get taken out. It's all into Sushi Boys holding down mid. No spike plant happens, so there's really not much for Sushi to do. 1 versus 4 is going to be almost impossible. DRX have to drop the ball in a big way for this to happen. So at the moment, he's just trying to look for any sort of economic damage. Zest speaking very aggressively, really wanted that orb for himself. Fortunately, though, once he gets a tag, he does know he needs to back away and try and bait RB to peeking out against to a firing line of other teammates.
Not really in the early round, more so in the mid round. Just be aware that control is being held passively, and it's very common.
Still,
for
though,
players
there's a modicum of danger to that.
most
But a very, very good lead for DRX right now. A Talon need to win this round if they want to really mount a comeback. Because if they lose this, they're going to be down to a light buy. And that'll be DRX putting themselves on 11 easy and with 6 rounds to try and catch up with.
this seems like an attacker heat map.
Very, very hard.
Team I've seen that just
But the wall's going to come on in. Immediately setting up at that ult orb.
I don't think they had much else. Here we
But
go, though.
the drone spots a light defense here. So they're going to be pushing on in. Zest with a nice angle finds one, but gets taken out. Jit Boys and Sushi Boys finding kills of their own. Spike does get dropped in the back of the site by a nice spray
Doing the work.
by Stax. 3 on 3. Spike has yet to go down, and the rotation has already been here.
And because of that, this is now becoming a very difficult
But they
round.
can't back away. They have to commit to the A site. They're going to wait for the Viper wall to go down.
But it's the spike position that's just so damning. Even if they wait, there's no way the DRX
And that's going to be neither Cove being utilized right now, either for the plant because of death or for the retake. Kostak just used his up. A good shot onto the molly, and RB can't quite line up that angle through the corner of the wall. On the upper side. Yeah, Fox Sushi Boys find those 2 shots. Very close, but still a good round from Talon. And again, that was a must-need round for them. DRX had the economy. This was the bonus round for DRX, so they definitely have the economy to try and buy themselves back into this. Not going to be going to a save just yet.
Still 9 to 6, and that wasn't a full investment. That still had stingers, that still had some weaker weaponry, and now the
bit of light armor,
for DRX as well. However,
because it's the utility that's the important part here
they are going to have
for
to turn
DRX,
it on
100%.
form of the reckoning.
A few Stacks is close to his ult, Cruz is close as well, and Jip Boys has their ult, so well, not anymore because they've used it. They want to take this really, really strong, really, really dominantly, trying to go for a fight. The Cove does come through, and again, yeah, not even just main, not even just the upper. They're planting on a completely opposite side, alternate side angle here. Push comes through the backside, 1-for-1 trade, and immediately the reticles flick around. The angle isn't great from that backside to try and defend that spike, but with a 4 versus 2 advantage, more than confident to swing out when they hear that little. Okay, all right, calm down, everyone. 4 versus 2, they could have easily swung out if they heard the spike defuse coming in with any utility behind it. But instead, DRX just going to back away, try and save these rifles. They know that they have the lead. They don't need to try and force into this. Just save the weapons, protect the economy. The economy is, I mean, it's like economy in real life. It's if you want a better life later on, you want to protect your economy now.
Saving these weapons seems to be a certainty. Not quite enough time for them to get into a position to drop one. So we will end up
Save what you can.
over on that Talon side.
Cruz ult. I saw another ult that was close to as well on the attacking side. So they definitely have the tools to continue this comeback.
That's a big blow in that round. A triple flank. Spot the first, trade it out one
What does
by one.
DRX have? Okay, so Stacks has his ult, and well,
You have the player Mako behind
no
you,
key
but it just so happens
game-making ult is
checking that spot for the jet.
gonna be
Oh, there's someone else here.
is close enough to be really worrisome. So Talon, I think, still have a solid advantage here, especially if Fox were to get a kill. Talon swinging it back over towards B, and there's going to be 2 players here. It's not just Mako. Cruz on the first half was the lone defender a lot, but there's a lot of players here from DRX. They're rotating a lot faster than we saw Talon when they were on the defensive side. But a bit of contact, Jet v Jet spotted here on A, and with the spike rotating away, no contact being had on B. How long is it going to take for the rotate to come back from DRX's side? They don't want to overwrite the pudding and rotate too quickly and sort of get caught off mid-transition. But with this utility coming on in, and with that float catching a couple of bodies of information, the rotate's going to happen. But it's not going to do that quickly because they know that they're going to be playing for the retake. You don't want to go in on a staggered sort of 2 players try and stop the plant, 3 wait for the retake, because that just means it's going to be a 5 versus 2 and then a 5 versus 3. But Buzz, oh man, thought he wanted to go into that. But again, this is a light buy here, so DRX gonna have to come up with something huge here. But nah, nothing's happening. Good sprays coming out from Talon. Good fundamentals, good control. Not even allowing DRX trying to get onto the spike. Yeah, the defuse attempts to come on in, but then going to push through their own wall with the crossfire from either side. Good hold by Talon, only losing 1. So they're building up their own economy. Not quite as good as DRX had in this similar position, if my memory serves me correctly, which it might not. But it's the same progression. So, and DRX, yeah, this is a good time to call a timeout here. A little bit of light armor. What was that? A little bit of light armor, yeah. So they don't want to. They want to make sure that they have their game plan figured out here. 1 ultimate. Let's just speed through this. But yeah, the timeout, honestly, the timeout is less about strategy and more about sort of getting everyone back onto the same page. They had a good lead. Talon did a good job of sort of coming back with that lead. But DRX want to stop that before it gets too dangerous, before they get overtaken. So let's see what they switch up here. They actually switch it up without the Mako ultimate. He has one away, but still ahead of time. He is going to go to the A site, and it's going to be a solo hold by Buzz holding down B with an operator. Talon is going to be another 5-stack pushing in towards A. Drone comes out, spots one. And they're going to be just aggressively pushing off, but Garnet misses the dash. Probably good that he did because of the multiple mollies that he's about to land into. But that still means that Talon have yet to get onto the site. No real rotating coming in. In fact, it's actually going to be RB rotating away into mid just because they haven't really had a lot of contact here. There could easily be a flank or a re-rotation elsewhere. Drone comes out, spots a little bit, spots enough to know that it is still going to be a stack on A by the attackers. And now the utility comes out again. It's going to be the final push here. Fully committing onto it this time around. Jip Boy is just checking the top, but he is going to back away and try and get that plant, but Mako knows. Mako is aware of it. Going to swing up, not going to let it happen. Zest gets a double. Can't get more, but RB is there to finish things off. 3-on-1. Fox, ooh, makes it a 1-on-2. Knows where another one is, tries to spam through the wall, gets the shock drone out, but Mako's going to back away. And then a really good swing out to drop Fox. 2 still remain. They do lose 3, but a really good round to follow up that timeout. Now they have 3 ultimates as well. So does Talon. 2 ultimates that really matter. But it's not to say that DRX have a huge ult advantage going into these next few rounds. Talon are not out of it just yet. Not by a long shot. Oh, this is another timeout. This is going to be from Talon, I imagine. Yeah. So a good time for them to call a timeout as well. That one, I imagine, is probably more of a strategic timeout for them. Then again, it all depends on what the coach hears in comms. Maybe he heard someone raging and called the timeout to stop that preemptively. Another A stack here. They've stopped pushing on to B. They haven't really been particularly confident with their takes and holds on the B site with this new comp. Not finding a lot of information, and a slow push across by Sushi Boys. Oh, I thought he was going to go. Oh, no, he is going to go all the way. Oh, my God. Yeah, Zest was not aware of that at all. The audacity to push across like that and expecting to not get spotted, or at least hoping for it. So they can't win the round from that. RB with a nice flick down into Sushi Boys, but Cruz is there for the follow-up. And it's the Talon advantage here. Plant comes down under the cover of Cove, and it's going to be a Viper ultimate as well because they want to guarantee that they get this round. Their economy is looking not so great, so if they lose this, they could have been a light buy, but they still want to stop DRX's re-establishment before it gets too ahead of itself. And yeah, they're going to save because looking at DRX's money, it's Buzz with 100, Stacks with 500. That's not a lot to work with, so this is definitely a good call to save these weapons, especially when the Viper's Pit came into play. God, what a push. What a push. Listen, you don't want to be doing that all the time, but every once in a while, just let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. And I mean, it would look really stupid if it didn't work. That's for sure. Okay, Talon now they're going over towards B once again. They've conditioned DRX that they are so focused on A that this has a high chance of catching. Ooh, okay. It might have caught Stacks off guard, but gets at least enough information to know that he's going to have to fall away from this one a little bit. And there's a rotation immediately called from DRX. That's 4 now in mid or the B site. It's just going to be Mako left on the A. But Talon have already rotated there. I mean, granted, it's Mako plus some Killjoy utility, so you're never completely alone with Killjoy on your team comp. At least you shouldn't be. I don't know what Killjoys you guys are playing with. But it's a bit of a reset to a default here from DRX because they've lost contact. Spotted something. Yeah, and is holding the angle, waiting for someone to peek out. That's a lot of angles to hold here from this position. So Buzz is going to prepare the dash. This is going to be basically a hero operator. You can see Mako there with the classic because the economy was so low. And, oh, yeah, Buzz is going to, smartly enough, not commit to that one. Sees two bodies, doesn't want to try and flick. Just stays alive, pulls out. The shorty gets one, but Garnet and Sushiboro are there to try and get trades. Garnet gets another one. 2 versus 1 right now. And Zest was trying to flank in through mid, but with the site being lost, just coming from the regular old angle. Has a bit of time to work with. The spike is only just now planted. But you got to watch out for a couple of different angles. Ooh, timing. Zest does get Fox. 1 versus 1, but down to 16 HP. Fox is spamming one shot in chat right now. Ooh, and now, yep. The Garnet peeks out, finds the information, spots one. Zest knows that he needs to try and go for the fight. He's got no utility to try and sneak this spike defuse. And so he swings out and gets taken out. It was the right play there by both players in that one-on-one. But 10v10 right now. That gap has been officially closed here by Talon. Honestly, off of the back of some really good shots, some really good mechanics by players here like Garnet.
10 to 10. Talon fighting their way back, taking their opponent's composition.
But can they continue this run? Can they really actually finally overtake DRX, get the lead? They haven't had a lead since their 3-0 start this map. Now Cruz is pushing up. Tube himself. Drones pass each other. Spot a little bit of information for both sides. Going to be a defensive Viper pit onto the left side of A side, but Garnet is already there, and Sushi Boys as well. They're wrapping around the opposite side, but RB is swinging through a harbor wall. Great shots to... Oh my god, I don't know if that Viper pit was intentionally setting a trap there for the left side of the site, but that's how it played out. And now, tail between their legs, Talon, they have to run away. It would be suicide to try and commit to the A side. At least right now they could try and isolate a lone player and maybe get a bomb plant on the spike plant on the opposite side. Pop the smoke at mid. Actually passes this Killjoy utility. So DRX, whether they spotted that smoke or not, are going to know that it's not going to be coming up through mid onto A. So Cruz has a good opportunity here depending on how aggressive Stax wants to go, but contact has been lost for so long for DRX, so they're just staying put right now. They have zero information of where Talon could go. Nobody move. Basically, the call is essentially nobody move right now. They DRX has the man advantage, so wherever the spike goes down, that's the least important part of this. They just need to get the information on where that spike is, then regroup, then push. Buzz is the one in the worst position right now. However, Talon, as you can see, are playing the top of site. And now, especially with Stax getting those 2 kills. Retake that site easily, get the defuse. 11 to 10. They're on overtime point right now, DRX.
This is their home territory. This is their comfort. This is their composition. Talon will have to dig deep if they want to take this victory.
Yeah, this swing was the swing that won the round for RB, or for that RB did to win the round for DRX. So Talon have emulated they've mirrored DRX's agent composition, but you can kind of tell that they're not super confident on it. I don't know if they've drilled it a lot beforehand. It could just be a Jit Boys versus Stax skill diff on the agent. But their protocols for the step-by-step flow chart of getting the spike plants down isn't nearly as clean as we saw from DRX when they were on the attack. I mean, even just stylistically, DRX are more flowcharty than Talon are. But that's really harming Talon because DRX's holds are really hard for them to break through, even with a mechanical advantage. Not saying they're better mechanically. I'm just saying even if they did, DRX have really solid protocols. A little bit of a fight here. Walls come up, walls go down, walls come up again. Now Jit Boys is waiting for a Zest arrow. It's not going to go to where he expects it. But because of that, it actually doesn't spot anyone. Looks like a rotation is going to happen from DRX.
I think they expected it to be a fake.
You can tell they're a little confused.
Doubling around as they
This is the strength of these big walls. The Harbor and Viper, and actually Buzz does get caught off. A slow push here by Talon does put them in a really good setup to isolate that player, but Stax is here.
respond though.
Gets the one to follow up from the 2K that we saw at the very end of the previous round.
To actually escape.
Cruz gets another, however. So this is a good opportunity for Talon to keep this scoreline tied up.
Blocking off B. I mean, this is gonna put
Oh my god, wait. But it's a Cove. A Cove is in play. The defuse is happening. Doesn't look like Garnet heard it. Oh!
RB
Spotted. What a great shot by RB. The Cove actually wasn't activated.
underneath their nose.
And it's going to be a quick defuse there. RB. Oh, man. The best wingman you could ever ask for.
Now just one more for DRX.
Did Stax have that Cove there? We're going to get a replay, I'm sure. Wait, let's just go back. Did Stax have the Cove? He did.
Big wall blocking off B. I mean, this is gonna put pressure on Talon.
Yeah, he is going to drop it. So, okay, so someone's spraying at it. I have to imagine that it's Jip Boys and Fox that were spraying at the Cove to drop it. Once it's dropped, once they, you know when you deal enough damage to it, essentially, they drop. You got the swing out from Garnet, but RB holding that angle. If he didn't get that headshot right then and there, this round would have been going towards Talon.
And 2 in a row needed to fight back into this. That could be the final blow dealt.
Yeah, it's those, I think Garnet was shooting there, so I imagine that gave Garnet's position away.
That he would let go after the swing.
But still, man, under Talon's nose.
Teammate to hold that line.
Stax just has to have trust in his teammates to hold that defuse. I think I just said what Tombas just said.
Maybe looking to pick up the
Hey, great minds, you know.
slower rounds have played into DRX.
But it's another A hit. Talon have been a lot more successful here, but Buzz is immediately shutting that one down. They've got the economy
To boot.
resettled under them. A good spray to catch Buzz off guard if you tried to push any further out into this angle. Gonna wait for that to dissipate, and they're gonna go back into it.
For their country, most certainly.
Was that a recon dart?
No matter what happens here, Talon have made history for
Yeah, it's a recon dart.
their region.
Immediately taken out, it looked like. I imagine it was immediately smoked, but oh, Buzz with another kill on a Fox trying to dry peek into that one.
They might be on their way.
Man, they had a huge disadvantage there.
I mean, after the Korean meta, the Korean
But you still, it's one of those, like, I'm torn on if it's a good idea or not. On one hand, you kind of have to go for a play when you have a disadvantage like this, and especially with the amount of times that Talon have cut noise and backed away, it's not a bad idea for Fox to assume that DRX have sort of read into that
some of the
and rotated early.
seen on an individual level.
One of those sort of like, I know, you know, etc., etc.
A lockdown into play. A flank attempt by Jip Boys, but now he's the last man standing.
So on the Jip Boys. Winning this is going to be almost impossible. Make a really nice kill, and the spike defuse cause come on in. DRX win this one with their own team comp. Now, on the other hand, the cat is out of the bag more than just a few days. We'll see if anyone in Group B drills this team comp and is able to continue to try and contest DRX on this. We'll also see what happens in DRX's next matchups when we come back to the final bracket with the semifinals. I have to do this, guys. The YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe. You know the big deal. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.